remember being told by the state exam of my junior year, I remember being told that if you don't pass this exam with a certain grade, you are out of the program. And I just remember feeling like, what is it that I'm going to do? Because I've always wanted to be a nurse. This is my dream, and if I cannot achieve this dream, what is it that you, God, want me to do? What else can I do? And as I had those thoughts, I also had to sit and think about the way that I was studying and why I wasn't getting the grades that I needed, why I failed my first exam. Now my second exam was great, but not great to get my average to where I could feel or barely pass my third exam. So I had to sit and rethink and re-strategize the way I study. Hello, welcome to Nurse Life. My name is Marian, and today I am here to share with you my experiences through nursing school, before I got into the program, when I got into the program, what I went through, and what I did to help me stay through nursing school without repeating a single semester, as well as giving you some word of encouragement if you are trying to get into nursing school, if you're in nursing school and just feeling the stress. I've been there. And if you are one of the students who are being told, you know what, if you don't pass this test with a certain grade, you are out of the program, I've been there as well. So I will be sharing with you what I did to get me through nursing school without repeating a semester. It wasn't easy. I had to rethink things, and it did work for me. So I first started doing my prerequisite or general at a community college. I met an advisor who was super great. She was in her 20s, but she was a godsend. And the first time I met her, she talked to me about things. We kind of go over the requirements that were needed for the program. We planned out ways that I could meet those requirements. And one of the requirements that I needed was to take an ACT test. The school that I was in at that time had a certain points they wanted you to score on the ACT, and if you don't get that, it's automatically no, you cannot apply. So while I was doing my general, I was thinking, well, when I'm getting close to the program, I will take this test. She knew and told me that no, you need to start taking this test now, because I know people have taken this test multiple times before they can even get this point or grade that is required. So you need to start taking it now. I took it 3 times, and no, I did not get the required score that was needed to apply to the program. So I am glad that I started taking it before I finished my generals. So by the third time I had met with her again, and she said, you know what, we have to start looking at other options. What are other options for you? For me, I knew that I could not go to school outside of the Twin City. I didn't have child at the time, but I needed to work to support myself and to help my family as well. So going out of the Twin City was not an option for me. So we looked at few schools around the Twin City, and some of them was just way too far. I could not live on campus. I told her that, and we, then come up with the school that I graduated from, Bethel. So as I got closer to completing my general, I went to Bethel. I visited one other university, but it was too far out of a drive for me, and that was a no-no as well, because I don't like driving. So I just look at their requirement, what was needed to apply to the program, and once I met all of the requirements, I applied to the program, and then I got into the program. Before I move on, I just want to talk to someone out there. If you are trying to get into nursing school or you are already in nursing school, it's really important to think about your situation and know what works for you. Because as you go through school, I remember going through school and having some of my classmates even tell me that, I heard this school out here is great. We can go and apply there. I heard the other school is great. You can go and apply there. But just remember, in America, in Minnesota here, each college has a different criteria for their programs. I don't know why. I guess it's the capitalist thing that every school has to be a little bit different to kind of keep up the competition. So whenever you move from one college to the next, it set you back in a way where you happen to maybe redo classes or do additional classes that you otherwise would not require at a certain school. So just really thinking about your situation before you transfer to a college. Does that college really works for you? Is that where you want to be? It's good to have people in your corner talking to you and giving you advice. At the end of the day, those advices only become useful when you are honest with them and they know your specific situation and speaking to it. Um, in other words, I can give you all of the advice. If your situation is not like mine, you need to take what I'm giving you and think about it and see if it will help you in some way. In some way, if it doesn't, if it works for me, it might work for you, but it's your situation the same as mine. If you're someone who able to go and live on campus or maybe move outside of the Twin City, that could be a better option for you. There could be schools out there that don't require things that are being asked for here in the schools that are in the Twin City. So it's, you just got to think about what works for your own situation. Moving on to being in nursing school. So I got accepted into the university. I had to do 1 year of their required course because it was a Christian school. They don't teach Bible classes in public school. So I had to do that and I applied to their program, got accepted into the program. The first semester was great. By the second semester, I was told by my TED exam that if you don't score a certain grade, you are out of this program. So I had to rethink the way I was studying because by that time, I had clinicals to do. I had clinical paper to write. I had to prep before clinical, looking at medication, looking at diseases. It felt like 24 hours was just not enough. So it's not that nursing school is difficult, it's just so much to cover that you don't have much time. And I am someone who is just super detailed. I wasn't used to just studying off my PowerPoint. Whenever I have PowerPoint or go through lecture, I have to go to the book. That's how I study because I want to get the background information. And when you have to read like 14 to 22 chapters for a 50-point exam and everything else you have to do, it's just too much. When I got told those words, I took myself, I went to Walmart, I got me a recorder. I went to lecture. I took out my recorder. I put it down as the teacher was talking. I'm recalling those lectures. Yep, there will be time where people look at you like, do you really need that, girl? I'm like, heck yes, girl. I need this recorder because you know what? My situation, I had to work. When you get into nursing school, to tell you don't work, there was no way that I could not work. I had to work to take care of myself. And after class, I'm heading to work. By the time I get home, I'm going to be doing another assignment. I can be listening to this lecture as I go to work or as I drive to school. So I got my recorder. I started recording the lectures. When I sat down to study, I make sure I print off my PowerPoint. I had it in front of me. I had my book right there. I read through the PowerPoint, and if there's anything that I don't understand or I need a little bit more detailed information, I open up the chapter and go back on that topic and just read a little bit more. when I started studying that way, my grade drastically changed. And what I realized, when teacher bringing questions to you, they're not going back to those books to draw questions. They are going to their notes to draw questions. So really, when they gave you those PowerPoints before class, you can read your chapters. If you have the time, you can go ahead and scan through your chapters. After class, you need to focus on the PowerPoint. What is on that PowerPoint? Make sure you understand it to the T. That when you are being asked question, you know how to answer question. As you know, nursing tests, you have more than one right answer, but you have the best right answer. The best right answer. Yeah. So just know your material and the way you can help yourself with the limited time you have. Is really focusing on your PowerPoint notes, going to the book and reading a bit more on things that you don't understand, so that when you're taking your tests, you can do well. And when you're taking your exam, it is you, it is your time. This is your dream, it's no one else's dream. Take your time. There were times that I felt when I first started the program, doing my first semester, there were times that I missed question, and as I go back to read the question and I ask myself, how did I get this wrong? That's because I'm just hurrying through my exam instead of reading or looking over my exam. After I'm done, I was just turning it in. So when I realized that that was something that I was doing, when I'm taking my exam, I go through it, answer everything that I know. For those that I need to think a little bit more about, I just leave it blank. After I have gone through everything and answer everything that I knew right off, I go back to those questions, analyze it a little bit more, talk things in my head or think things in my head, then answer and look over all of my tests before I turn it in. When I started to do that, my grade drastically changed. So that's something that you can do. Just remember that this is your dream. You have a situation, and what is it? You can have a group, you can have a study buddies. For me, I never had study buddies in school. I have friends that we will talk about assignment, we'll discuss things, and we will, quiz each other, but we never spend time together studying. For me, group study doesn't work for me. I'm someone who, when I'm reading, it have to be absolutely quiet. And a lot of the time, what I found when I first attempted to do a group study, it was a waste of my time. There was a lot of conversation, unnecessary conversation, and I didn't have that time to spare. Every meeting was important to me. Like I said, I had a job and I had to keep my grades up. So I quickly realized that group study was not my thing. So I studied at home. I study by myself. When I show up early during an exam time, if there's a student outside and looking over their notes, sometimes we quiz each other, but that's just to kind of reinforce what I've already studied and what I've already know. It wasn't me trying to sit with someone to learn a new material that I haven't put time in reading alone. Reading by myself help. If you're someone who like to read with someone, you like group study, that's great. Just find one or two people to study with and make sure that you are utilizing your time wisely, because when you're in a group, it can get very distracting a lot of the time. So if you are in a group and having a group study and see that your grade is not improving, or you're not doing as well as the other people in your group, you need to sit down and ask yourself this question: is this group really helping me? Is this my style of study? Is this how I learn new information? It's important that you figure out what works for you to survive nursing school, because you don't have that time to waste. You don't have that time. There's so much things to do, there's so much content to cover. You have clinicals, you have clinical paper, you have research. If you are someone like me who just go and get your bachelor right off. You have research to do as well, and all of these things require time. So if you don't figure out what works for you, you can, end up not doing so well. So it's important to know your style. How do you best learn information? Are you someone who likes to talk things out? And there were days that I will read out my notes and read it out loud like I'm having a conversation with someone. Yes, I used to do that because it works for me and it helps. So I figure out what works for me. I stuck with it and it helped me through nursing school. So if you are trying to get into nursing school, I'm telling you, just look at the school that you're in. Look at other schools as well. See their criteria or requirement to apply to the program, and make sure that everything you're doing from the minute you enroll in school is geared towards that. You're meeting all of those requirements. So by the time you're done with your general, you are ready to apply.